Going
It's
negative.
so funny. Amy, I think when you were here before, it was July. We were probably talking about Joe Biden. The Trump people were talking about how they were going to win. They were measuring the curtains, et cetera, et cetera. I think we all said it's only July. Now we can say it's only August. So it's still early. But again, quoting Churchill for the 18th time, at least it's now sort of the end of the beginning. We're about to get into the full swing of the campaign. You've got new numbers from swing states. What are you finding?
Yeah, you're right. This race has been reset, certainly since May, but even since July when President Biden dropped out. Look, back in May, we saw Biden trailing in all of the swing states, or at best tied. Right now, Harris is either leading or tied with Trump in those swing states. There's one state, Nevada, which she's still trailing in. But overall, if you look at those 7 swing states, Harris is up, again, within the margin, but up 48-47. Biden was down by 3 points. So it's a reset. What's, to me, the most remarkable piece of this poll, and it's what we've been seeing in surveys now that have been coming out in the last week or so, is how little she has been burdened, shall we say, by her association with the administration. She's the sitting vice president, and yet 59% of voters in these swing states think that she is basically the change candidate. She's turning the page from Trump and Biden. She is a generational change, obviously, but they believe that too. And even though Trump is ahead on issues like immigration and the economy, on inflation, obviously the number one issue for so many voters, she's only trailing Trump by 6 points. I think if Biden were in, Biden were in this race, it would be a much bigger margin.
Amy, when you were here last with those polls that showed so much of this race had swung toward Donald Trump, there was, as you know, among Democrats, a sense of almost resignation midsummer of the debate was a disaster. Joe Biden, we love the guy, but he's too old. I'm not going to go vote for Donald Trump, but I think I'm sitting this one out. Is that what this is about? I think
that's exactly what we're seeing, is those voters who were parking themselves in, I'm going to vote for RFK Jr. maybe, or I'm undecided, have now all come back to Democrats. What's interesting, too, is RFK Jr. now is more of a problem for Trump than he is for Harris. Again, many of her voters now coming back to her, but the RFK voter is, just by profile, is somebody who should be or would be more would be more interested in voting for Donald Trump.
So, Amy, is it overstating it to indicate that the movement of voters back toward the vice president who are sitting on the fence or just not thinking about things, is it a combination of relief and gratitude among voters? Gratitude toward the president for withdrawing, and relief that, as you point out, a sitting vice president of the United States is now someone new?
She's new. And I do think, I do wonder if she weren't a woman, if this weren't as historic as it is, if you would have that level of movement and intensity. Because she literally is, even if you don't know much about politics, you're not following this day to day, you've been hearing and seeing from 2 older white guys for a long time now and being very uninspired by it. And then all of a sudden, here comes this woman who doesn't look or act or sound like anything you've seen before in politics. And suddenly it's like, I'm gonna listen in. So she's getting a benefit of the doubt that is quite remarkable for a sitting vice president.
So, Jamar, what we're seeing here are trends that it's not that Donald Trump is losing support, but rather that Kamala Harris has gained support, reconsolidating, as Amy just said. And I think it's particularly of note as you talk to Democrats, how they feel younger voters coming home and certainly voters of color. And that's just a coalition that she has to build, particularly in the suburbs and the big cities in these battleground states.
Yeah, it feels like folks coming home rather than her moving undecided voters to the Democratic column. And there's obviously a huge difference. Now, in an era of polarization, getting Democrats to come home, getting them motivated is crucial because mobilization matters. I don't think it matters as much as persuasion, but mobilization matters a lot. The key for her is going to be the next phase, which is persuasion, which is moving undecided voters to the Democratic column. Those numbers you guys flashed on the screen for the VP are positive vis-a-vis where Biden was, but they're still challenging for a Democratic candidate for president. Look, it's not ideal to be losing narrowly in Nevada and to be tied in Pennsylvania right now, because if you lose those two states, the path to the White House gets really complicated for a Democrat. But obviously, this is a lot better than where they were a few months ago. And also, guys, it's important to point out what she's also done. She stabilized down ballot. Because speaking of Democrats coming home, there were so many House and Senate Democratic candidates who were worried that they were now toast because Biden was so weak on top of the ticket. At the very least now, she's helped stabilize candidates who were looking for volunteers, who were looking for support, looking for contributions, and all that was drying up over the summer. Now, at least, I think a lot of folks down ballot feel better about their chances.
Yeah. In a race like this, a rising tide really does lift all boats. Democrats don't like that. But it really does, and it's exactly what's happening here. Donnie, I was saying that the evidence that young voters were coming home to Democrats was anecdotal before. Now we see the numbers that is happening. I suspect it will continue to happen. But, you know, that was Joe Biden's biggest challenge. As has been pointed out here, it's not that Donald Trump is losing voters. It's that Kamala Harris is picking up voters that were staying away. But younger voters coming home, people of color, voters coming home, women, more women moving to Kamala Harris in her direction. I think especially important, though, even though they don't vote as much as older voters, younger voters, the energy that is now behind Kamala Harris is just so striking. And I say that mainly anecdotally, but there's so many younger voters that were going to sit it out or just had no connection to Joe Biden, but now want to volunteer, that want to go to rallies, that want to make phone calls. It's pretty striking, just the difference a month makes.
Two words, and you guys have talked about it: hope and change. If you look back the last 30 years, when the Democrats have had that enthusiasm, that kind of wave that we're feeling. With Bill Clinton, I worked on Bill Clinton's campaign in 1992, did advertising, and of course with Barack Obama, you had that hope and change. Hillary Clinton, you couldn't sell that, and she lost. Joe Biden, he won, he squeaked it out, but there wasn't that enthusiasm. Why? Because you couldn't sell hope and change. When you have that, you're almost unbeatable. That's kind of what you mentioned. Every constituency, young people, people of color, they want hope, they want change. Pretty much everybody wants that. Even if you're happy in your life, you say hope. You want more hope? Yeah. You want more change? Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the wave that's happening, and that's what the Cook Report is saying. That's what all the anecdotal things are saying. So when you have that, as I said, those magical two words, and Donald Trump can stand on his head. There's one thing he can't give you is change, and he certainly can't give you hope. He's going in the opposite direction. So once again, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, hope and change.
And the word you keep hearing of these rallies is joy. People are happy to be there. They're enthusiastic. You can contrast that with Donald Trump on X for 2 hours, with Elon Musk just laying out his grievances. A very different picture there. A number inside your report, Amy, that will hearten the Harris campaign is this independent number, which 3 months ago, Donald Trump, in your analysis, +3, now Harris +8. That's a huge number.
It is a big movement, and it's a lot of independent women that are coming over and right now supporting Harris. I think, you know, to Jonathan's point, when you look at who those undecided voters are, or people who are still saying, maybe I'll vote third party, they are very cross-pressured on the following. They feel very anxious about the economy. They do feel like inflation is getting worse at a higher level than the overall electorate. they don't like Donald Trump personally. I mean, I feel like we're just we've been rerunning this same playbook now for a long time of voters who say, well, I mean, I kind of liked his policies when he was president. Oh, I don't really like how he acts. And so those voters, how Harris talks to those voters, how she's able to, as Jonathan pointed out, persuade them that she's going to be able to deliver for them. And more important, if Trump can stay on the message about the economy. But again, I feel like we have this conversation over and over again. If only he would stick to a message on the thing that he's actually winning on.
Yeah, that's a lot of people inside the campaign and the Republican Party would like him to do the same thing. He's not. Jay Mort, I want to underline something that you said. I think it's so important for people watching. Yes, these numbers have shifted. Where we are right now, though, if you look at all these numbers, kind of where we were a month ago as far as this race being close. This is still tied. This race is tied right now. Now, it's tied with a slight lean to Harris. A month ago, it was tied and with a slight lean, except in Nevada and North Carolina. If you look at those numbers in May, with a slight lean and all the states that really make a huge difference. It was, so it's Harris +2. Now in Arizona, it was Trump +1. Tied in Georgia, it was Trump +3. You go down this list, everything except for Nevada and North Carolina. Those are all within the margin of error. This race is tied.
Yeah, Joe, we're in an era of political trench warfare. This is World War I in American politics. Amy mentioned the same conversation that we've all been having for 9 years. Well, yeah, because we're a 51-49 country and Democrats have an advantage. But obviously we have an electoral college, not a popular vote. So it's a toss-up country, and it has been now for the last 3 presidential elections. But Joe, 2 things. First of all, if you look at Georgia and North Carolina in that graphic you just showed, this is important to focus on, too. And it does show the possibility that Kamala Harris could galvanize black voters in a way that we haven't seen since 2012 in American politics. Look at that number there where she obviously has moved numbers in Georgia and North Carolina, both states with significant black populations. Boy, if she can win Georgia and North Carolina, that really, really changes the equation because obviously it creates less pressure on her to carry all 3 of those states in the Great Lakes.